most easily to understand way to get the most out of your football team is to know exactly who you are. It can be so frustrating watching a team think they're run and shoot, think they're a drop back and slinging around the field 50 times a game, and they just don't have the receivers, even if they have the line and the quarterback, or they don't have the quarterback, even though they have the line and the receivers. And you're just looking at them going, that's not you. NC State knows exactly who they are, and that is as a team. The quarterback change from MJ Morris back to Brennan Armstrong didn't change their identity because it was a team identity that they found. They played defense very well. They used Casey Concepcion for big plays, and they asked the quarterback to keep the car on the road.
And for back-to-back weeks, they hold a team to just 6 points.
6 points. We'll talk about the similarities, but it is that simple for the quarterback. Right? I don't need you to drive 100 miles an hour. I don't need you to weave. I don't need you to pass in the slow lane. I just keep the car on the road and let the defense handle their business. And it definitely feels like the bye week was when they figured it out. Here's Dave Doran on how much growth he has seen since the bye week for his Wolfpack.
I think the last 3 games have gotten better. Each game gotten better. Ran the ball really well today, and that was great to see. And it was. To be able to have that kind of run game. But, yeah, I think Coach and I said this, when we were in spring ball, he's like, it's going to take a while to figure this piece out because we didn't have any guys that were just dominating the practice. Obviously Casey has shown us that he's a player. But, he had to figure out the pieces, and who's he going to get the ball to and how are we going to be able to use this guy or that guy. As you saw, we moved the linebacker to fullback to help us. I mean, we're still evolving. Dakari Collins stepped up today making some plays. Okay, so we can evolve more with that. And, yeah, so we're still growing. I think still getting better, which is, man, if you're getting better in November, that's a good thing, so excited about that.
Here's the thing. The running game got going, but guess what the running game was? 96 yards from Brennan Armstrong, your quarterback, 86 yards from wide receiver Casey Concepcion. You only had 266 overall. You had 182 from non-running backs. They're figuring out who they are. They depend on Casey Concepcion for the big plays and the defense. And this week, Brennan Armstrong had his moment, and I'm glad he got that moment.
As someone who was at the game up in the press box, it was so cool to see the team just embrace Brennan Armstrong when he came to the sideline after the 20-yard touchdown pass to Julian Gray.
Matter of fact, let's hear what it felt like from him himself. It is Brennan Armstrong on that first touchdown and all the relief I'm sure that came with it.
Yeah, it felt good. I'll tell you what, I've done a decent amount, but this one felt different just because, I feel like I've grown. Even though being a 6th year in college, I feel like I've grown through this time that I was sitting. And, yeah, it just felt good again. It felt like myself. Yeah, I really don't have words for it. It just felt different than the other ones. Just that comeback thing. So, yeah, I enjoyed it.
Was that the Muffin Man in the background? What was that other?
Oh, I didn't hear it.
Did they have 2 press conferences going on at once?
Drury Lane? Could be on the other side of the room. He has 64 touchdown passes in his career. To hear him say how different that one was, I'm happy for him. But it wasn't about him. He had 100. It was from a social standpoint, okay? It was about him from getting back up on the horse and having the team embrace him and having the fans love that he's back out there and he stuck around and he put his body on the line. He had 111 efficient passing yards and a touchdown. He had 15 carries for 95 yards, which led the team in rushing and a touchdown on the ground, but it wasn't about him. It was about the team following the blueprint that they know they can excel at. You brought up that they both, in both of the last 2 games, they gave up 6 points. They played Wake Forest and Miami. 2 very different teams. Not the same team at all. The last 2 games were identical in a lot of ways because the NC State Wolfpack said, it's not about them. It's about what we do. It's about what we do well. It's about our blueprint. It's about what our identity is.
Yeah, Tony Gibson said last week during his press availability that the standard is the standard right now in defense.
But it's not even just the defense, right? Because it's the offense recognizing that the standard is the standard on the defense. Each game they gave up 6 points. That's unreal. Both games the offense had less than 150 yards passing. They had one passing touchdown. The offense in the two games scored 20 and 24 points. They depended on KC for the deep shots. They didn't take, and by the way, big plays doesn't necessarily mean deep throws that are in the air forever. Could be a 2-foot pass or a 10-yard pass that he works the rest of the way down the field. The offense scored 20 and 24 points, and they never felt like, oh, we got to go get 30, because they trusted the defense. It's an identity thing, right? If you're on a team with one of the best defenses in the country, why are you pressing your offense so hard? They recognize that, right? Why are we thinking we have to go score 35 points when we might only have to score 14? If we get to 20, that's bonus. That's insurance.
Think about when the Baltimore Ravens won their Super Bowl back in 2001.
Going way back. Dilfer years.
Yeah, throwback. 3 years after I was born.
Oh, jeez.
It's not because they had a superior offense or a great quarterback. It's because they had a guy named Ray Lewis and a freaking good defense.
And an offense that recognized it. That's the part that so many teams get wrong, right? When you hear one of the best defenses in the country or in the NFL or any level of football, and you feel like a defense is being wasted, it's usually because the offense, thinks they're equals, and they don't realize that it's the sum of the parts, right? If you have a great defense, but your offense is turning the ball over on your side of the field. If you have a great defense, but your offense isn't recognizing, hey, sometimes 3 plays, as long as they're run plays and we get to bleed the play clock down to get our defense a little bit of a rest and a punch that pins the other team deep in their territory, that's all our defense needs us to do. Brennan Armstrong, early in this season when he was the starter, there was a lot in the passing game that I did not love. I'm saying it exactly like I saw it, right? Got to call it as you see it. There was a lot in the quarterback run game I did like when it was designed from Brennan Armstrong. Coming back the second time, they said, we're going to keep you to like 15 throws. Hopefully you complete 10 of them, which is essentially what he did. We're not going to ask you to throw 60 yards downfield. If you end up with 111 passing yards but no turnovers, we love it. When we need 5 hard yards, we're going to depend on you to get it. And when we need a big play, we're going to depend on KC Concepcion. Other than that, we're going to get the heck out of the way, just like we did against Miami.
But Dave Doran also talked about it. He said the offense has finally found its identity coming off the bye week. And I love the first play call, the reversal to KC Concepcion, which set up a 65-yard to give North Carolina their first touchdown just 3 plays. I love that creativity. I even like the creativity when MJ Morris was still in, when they rolled him out of the pocket and allowed him to use his feet and get some space and find guys open.
It's so much different for an offense. It's very different for an offense. That's probably better grammar. It's very different for an offense when you take the pressure of having to score 30 off the table. And you recognize we need like 3 great, could be play calls, like you're describing, 3 great play calls that catches the defense off, 3 great individual efforts, right? Just great plays by one person, breaking tackles, picking up a big play, or just 3 drives where you nickel and dime your way down the field. It only takes 3. If you score 2 touchdowns and 2 field goals, I have a lot of confidence in this NC State defense. And they're finally playing that way, which I think is the best thing they can do. And it doesn't matter if it's MJ Morris at quarterback or now Brennan Armstrong at quarterback.